Hey everyone, this is Emanuel here. Here to do body code commentary from pages 10 to 20 now. Hopefully you enjoyed the first commentary I did on the pages 1 through 10. And for those of you who have been following me for a while, hopefully you already joined HEAL, which is haveempathyandlove.com. And over there, if you go over there, we're going to be doing these group healings there. But also we have a HEAL book club. You'll get more feedback. If you notice, even on YouTube, there's probably 2 or 3 comments down there. But at HEAL, we have way more comments. People are adding their input on there because we have over 1,700 practitioners or wellness coaches that are adding their input. And so just way more people there. If you want to get some more tips and get everyone else's feedback, then that's the place to be. So let's get started. So let's go to page 10. I'm going to see if I have any commentary on there. But I'm taking a lot of notes though. So, okay, so page 11 on the top, it says, it talks about, it's continuing a sentence of EMDR is one of the most effective treatments of PTSD among veterans. So if you see that on page 11, according to multiple studies, however, less than 20 years ago, it was considered quackery. So it just talks about how PTSD has helped people out, but also it talks about how the body code and other energy-related methods are frequently effective within days or weeks. So here's the interesting thing is that when I first started in this work, I always recommend if you're a body code practitioner or emotional practitioner that you have some type of pro bono out there, something that you can give freely to people. There's something very liberating that even when I got started, I wasn't that good. I was still trying, I was still messing up, but I was trying my best. I think that's why I saw so much changes in people, because my intention was to really help people. And that's what really matters. You know, having love, Dr. Brad always says love and gratitude, and working with a client is really the most essential recipe for success. If you don't have that, if you're dealing with drudgery and you don't really care about the person, it doesn't really work as well. And I had a special place in my heart for military PTSD veterans. And I'm telling you that I have seen huge shifts with clearing the heart wall. The heart wall, I didn't know how real it was until you work with an 11-year war veteran and you see changes in them, and they don't do drugs anymore, they don't drink anymore, their relationships improve. So my recommendation, if you're a body code practitioner, find something that you're very passionate about. Orphans, maybe single mothers on the streets, or anything that you feel passionate about. Do some pro bono heart wall work, and just go out there and let's serve some more people. Anyway, that's kind of the thing that helped out with these PTSD veterans. But also, idea allergies and idea intolerances were also another realm that I was getting very familiar with. So what I mean by that is idea allergies in the body code is like when as soon as you touch an idea or you think about an idea, you're like allergic to it. And usually your anger, and it's like the foundation of triggers. So a lot of these PTSD veterans, as soon as they tap into an idea, like maybe someone's needing something from them, it might remind them of a ranking officer that needed something from them, they can get triggered very quickly. So if you remove the idea allergy and remove the thing below it, or if there is something below it called associated imbalance, then you'll make sure that the idea allergy doesn't come back. So it's like very, very important that we have something very special with the body code. It's like most energy healing modalities, they kind of just scuff off the top and they kind of go, okay, go on your way. It may work for that moment, but later on it won't. So it'll come back. So you have to remove the thing below it. So every time you find an allergy, you have to say, is there an associated imbalance that's kind of, fueling the idea allergy, or sometimes that's what I use terminology wise. And usually there is. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's inherited. You might even have an inherited allergy from a great-great-great-grandfather. Also, idea intolerance, if you want to write this down. Idea intolerances also can help out a PTSD veteran because there are certain things that give them anxiety, overwhelm, nervous, headache, tired all of a sudden. So as soon as they tap that idea, their body goes into stress mode. Stress, overwhelm, nervous, anxiousness, tired, headache. Okay, so when I was working with those PTSD veterans, I was finding lots of idea intolerances, idea allergies, and also heart walls. Okay, now back to the bottom. It says, this is page 11 still. Over the last 30 years, there's been an accelerating shift to natural healing methods, including methods of energy healing. People are looking for non-invasive ways to get well, while the medical pharmaceutical establishment has been doubling down on questionable vaccination practices and chemical therapies, to say the least. Okay, so here's the thing is, it's saying here in the last 30 years it's been accelerating, and I want to add my 2 cents. In the last 10 years, it's done even double. It's the openness is really out there. So if you're a practitioner, or maybe you're a client, maybe you love what you're reading here, you'll be surprised at how many friends of yours have done energy healing. They don't even know they did it. Like, for example, their chiropractor was muscle testing. They're like, oh, that's what they were doing. They were pushing down on my arm. Or they went to an acupuncturist and then they're like, yeah, they're putting some needles on me. I have no idea what he's doing. And they were actually experiencing a form of energy healing. And so a lot of the people are more open. Why? I really feel like if you are seeing a lot of consistency with people being open, like I have some practitioners that say, oh, no one's open to this stuff. And they always question me, you know? And I go, the number one reason why that person sees that is because of their belief. They believe that the world is closed-minded. So you have to be very careful. What you have inside of your beliefs, you will see and manifest in the outside. I constantly attract people that 99.999% are open to energy healing. I very rarely get the skeptical person, very rarely. Why? Because I believe that we're in the world of openness. We're in the world of new ideas. We're not going to the, as I said in the podcast once, we're not going into the age of information, but the age of intuition. I truly believe that. One of the things that led to this, in my opinion, is baby boomers suffering. My mother, who died of pancreatic cancer, she was more intelligent than my father, to say the least. And, you know, she was open to Chinese acupuncture and studying meridians and studying all these different variations of Chinese medicine. And I really feel like it has to do with the fact that she was seeing her patients suffer. And these little Band-Aids weren't working. And as a medical doctor, she didn't come to just prescribe what they tell her to prescribe. She came to actually help their patients heal themselves. Okay, so let's move on to page 12. It talks about a paralyzed arm. I always recommend you guys to read this first, read 10 to 20. Again, I love Dr. Brad's work. I'm doing this as a fan. I'm doing this just to, hopefully it'll add some 2 cents to what you're studying. But the paralyzed arm is a really great story. That was kind of immediate, you know? So I want you guys to kind of write this down. Sometimes immediate healing doesn't happen. Let me give you an example. When I read this, if you're a client or you're a practitioner, this may help you, either of you guys. You may notice that maybe your issue didn't go away. And so what I want you to write down in your notes is the three-legged stool. Okay, the three-legged stool, what is that? What that means is diet, water, and sleep. So how's your diet? How's your water intake? Are you dehydrated? Sleep. Actually, we're going to add an extra fourth leg to it, is your stress levels. So if your stress is really high, your diet is not that great, you're dehydrated, and your sleep is low. So let's say a four-legged stool, okay? Then you may not have immediate results because your immune system is going to catch up to the session you just did. So sometimes the guy who had an arm issue that I worked with once, I remember it very clearly. He worked at a bar, didn't sleep well. I know his diet wasn't that great. I know he was dehydrated because he drinks too much alcohol, I think. But anyway, I worked on his arm, and guess what? His arm didn't even make a budge, didn't even move. He's like, no, it still hurts, it doesn't move. But it's been that way for 2 weeks, okay? Then the next day, 50% movement. Then the next day, 100% movement. So he obviously called me back and said, you're not going to believe this. My arm can move. It was literally stuck. And this lady's was a paralyzed arm. But yeah, his was like stuck. Like there was something going on where he couldn't move it, the rotary cuff. But anyway, I want to tell you guys that just don't be, how do I say this, disappointed if you yourself are doing a healing on yourself or someone else and it takes maybe a couple hours. Sometimes I can muscle test to see how long they'll actually see the full effectiveness of this. I don't do it frequently, but sometimes just give it 2 hours. Tell them, hey, drink some water, check on it in 2 hours, and hopefully it decreases down even more, 20 to 30%, okay? So that's page 12. Okay, page 14/15. So at the bottom of page 14, it says she had a lot of misalignments in her spine, creating poor communication between her brain and the organs and glands and other tissues of her body. She had a heart wall where emotional energies become wrapped around the heart, along with other trapped emotions. Here's what's really interesting is that the heart wall, even though it has it literally is the greatest discovery in energy healing, sometimes in our mind we think, hey, we should just ask the body, what are the imbalances causing this symptom? Okay, now that's a great way to move forward. However, what's interesting is you can actually find out percentage-wise if you muscle test, what's the percentage of communication from your heart to your body, to your organs. It may be very low. You must test, it's only 12%. What about brain to your organs and glands? So that's what Dr. Brad also found out, is that your brain is communicating with different parts of your body, and if it's very low, then there's very low connection, then your body's not using itself, or not at its highest capability. Now, with the heart wall too, you can also test to see if the percentage of communication from the heart to different parts of the organs are not doing that well. And guess what the number one culprit is the heart wall. So the heart wall, you're sending mixed messages to your organs and glands. So I definitely agree with this. This person had fibromyalgia. The heart wall would definitely open her up, because if the organs are not doing well, guess what? It does give pain to different parts of the body. For example, the pancreas gives pain in the mid back, and also like the left shoulder, and all these different areas the pancreas gives pain, your wrist and your thumb. And you might think in your mind, well, it's got to be fibromyalgia, or it could be, as mentioned before in the last video, just one organ that's maybe the heart's not communicating with it, or there's an imbalance with it. So just a little note there. Also, like I said, in page 15 in the middle, it says some of them will get well over the course of just a few weeks, some over months, others over many months. So we have to be patient with our healing. Page 16, there's a really cool thing. At the bottom it says, I wholeheartedly agree with Norm Shealy, MD, founding president of the American Holistic Medical Association, who said, energy medicine is the future of all medicine. It's the contribution to the better future. What I want to share with you is, I remember Dr. Brad and I had a sushi dinner. I don't know if you guys have heard this story, or maybe I've said in another video, but we had this really cool moment where I said, where do you see the future of the emotion code? And it's a really humbling thing when he told me the answer, is that I thought he would say, we're going to have the body code and belief code. Is he like this expansion, And he talked about how the emotion code is just like a tool. It's a tool to increase our faith. And that back in the days, whatever religion you believe in, whatever, you would just say, in the name of the Creator, be healed, And he's like, we're not there yet. We're vibrating at such a low level on the earth that we're not there yet. But in the future, that's where we're headed. So so it only takes a few people on the earth. He didn't say a lot of people. He just said a few people on the earth where their faith gets elevated enough. He actually said there'd be no reason for the emotion code to even exist. It will just kind of get buried again. And I thought that was very powerful. For those of you who are Christian, you might be like, wow, that's really cool. I didn't know he'd say something like that. And if you're not Christian, it doesn't matter. If you don't care if you're Buddhist, Jewish, whatever, I love you, God loves you. But I just thought that was really interesting that usually a person who brings in this amazing modality would be talking about expansion, bigger, better, And he wasn't like that. He was just like, it's us elevating. We need to elevate. And as we elevate, there's no need for the thing that got us there. We can just kind of go directly to the Creator and move things. Okay, so number 19, it talks about seeking an answer. This is kind of the last thing I want to share with you. And one of the things is he starts praying, right? Asking for help from above. And I once heard from one of my mentors, she told me, she says, when you're working with people, a couple of things you want to know. It's almost like you send a cord to someone, you're like connecting them to do muscle testing. But then there's like a cord that you send to the Creator, and that person also sends a cord to the Creator. It's this triangle that happens. And that's why these healings work, is because there's this like triangle correlation between me and the Creator back to the client, and the client to you. So it's this triangle thing. And then you may be an empath. You might be kind of nervous about, well, I don't want to connect with anybody. And that's a really smart thing. But you want to look up, you want to Google this as biolocation, okay? And a lot of us can maybe go, for example, to the heart chakra of the earth. If you want to Google that, that's Glastonbury. Glastonbury is actually the heart chakra of the earth. If you want to meditate in your mind, you kind of like put yourself in a really special container, right? And you kind of go into the earth and the Glastonbury and just kind of stay there. And then you do your sessions from that location, from the heart chakra of the earth. And then you kind of picture in your mind that when you're working with someone, they're like in a little container as well, maybe right next to you, but you guys aren't connected. There's no cord there. It's just they're in a container, you're in a container, and you're in the heart chakra of the earth. You'll probably have less attachments to that person. Because if you don't kind of mentally put yourself there, then, and it takes 2 seconds, you can just kind of picture them in the container, you're in the container, you're in Glastonbury. Just picture it real quick. You'll notice that you won't get affected by your sessions as much because you're using biolocation. You're moving yourself, kind of separating yourself from someone like, hey, you keep your energies there, I'll help you, but I don't want to bring it to me, bring it to my house and affect me. And that can happen after a while. You start getting tired, getting negative. It's because you're empathing too much from the client. So again, hopefully you got some great notes from this. Feel free to comment below which one was your favorite tip that I gave you, or maybe you found something really interesting in these pages from 10 to 20. Hey, you're a practitioner yourself. Maybe you want to write it down there. Again, I recommend if you're not on Heal, go on Heal and look for Heal Book Club. And I'm posting these here, and there'll be way more commentary. If you want to see what other practitioners are saying, or maybe we're waiting for you to write something down there, just go ahead and go there and go ahead and write some comments, and then let's help each other out. Let's provide value to each other. And again, the way to get to Heal is haveempathyandlove.com. I'm doing group healings there, so if you're someone who wants to get 7 days of healing, that's where I do it. And just for being on Heal, you get at least one healing a week on Sunday. It's called the Sunday healing, where we just ask the creator to work with our higher self. We include your children in there, 17 and under. That's a free healing every single Sunday. So again, that's haveempathyandlove.com. And I look forward to hearing your comments below, and I will comment too. So I know I can get a lot of information from you guys as well. Hopefully you gain some value of what I said today. And tomorrow I will do 20 to 30. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.